Please welcome Rachel Burney.
Good morning. I'm Rachel Burney. I'm here from ExxonMobil. I'm the IT lead for our process and systems transformation. I'm very pleased today to talk to you about what we're doing and also about our partnership with Syniti. This is just a bit about ExxonMobil. Hopefully you know who we are, but if you don't, maybe just a few words here. We are quite focused on providing the energy and the products that the world needs. And when you think of products, think of fuels, think of lubricants, think of chemicals. So that's really our focus. We have a unique set of competitive advantages. You can see those across the middle of the slide. And those competitive advantages allow us to do what few really can, which is bring world-scale solutions to some of the world's toughest challenges. We also get to apply those competitive advantages to our process and systems transformation. So let's talk a little bit about how we're doing that. So we'll start here with the challenge. We have a global work environment that includes how we do work, the process, and the technology that we use to support that work, the systems. That's there to support our purpose and our vision as a company. And we had a very kind of long-standing set of processes. Many of them have been in place since the 90s, some since the early 2000s. They are customized processes. They are built for specific organizations within ExxonMobil and not really for the enterprise. They're also quite customized in terms of the systems that we have. And you can see that we have 12 ERP systems, 11 of them are SAP. We have about 1,000 interconnected applications that support all of our kind of business or transactional footprint. Many of those systems have been in place for a long time and are at end of life. So that's the problem statement. And that's what we were trying to solve for. Along with those systems and that architecture, we also had data that was quite specific to each unique application. So every one of our ERPs had a data structure, and while we did our best over time to try to make that data structure consistent between our big systems and our big non-SAP applications, we weren't quite successful at that. And so we have quite a fragmented and customized data estate that we're also trying to work on here, and that's where we brought in Syniti, and we're quite happy with the partnership we have. So here's the approach we took to solving the problem, the challenge that you saw on the prior slide. First, we started working on our business model, and this is a multi-year journey at a corporate level to simplify our structure into three major businesses. Our upstream, our product solutions business, again, think lubricants, think fuels, think chemicals, and low carbon solutions. Then we took centralized organizations, so a good example here might be supply chain. And we put them together, so you didn't have supply chain, for example, across businesses, you now have it in one structure. We did that to make sure that all end-to-end processes related to supply chain were in one place. So that was the business transformation, right? That kind of set the stage for what we were trying to do. The next step on our journey was to then look at the way we were running our businesses and our processes. I told you before on the last slide that they were quite customized and bespoke. Now we are moving to industry standard. And when we look at a fit to standard target, we set a goal for ourselves within this transformation of 80%. I'm happy to say that partway through the program, we're sitting at 90. Do I think we're going to pressure that 80? Absolutely, but right now we're at 90 and we feel quite good about the governance that's gotten us there. We also tackled our controls environment. So this isn't just how do you look at your business processes, but it's also some fundamental questions about the things we do from a security and a business control angle. And we're quite pleased, again, about the fit for risk perspective that we're taking there. Once we tackled the industry standard work, then we're moving on to how do we enable that work through systems. And that's the last section on this slide. This is where we get to replacing those 12 legacy ERPs with a single design with S4 at the heart of it. We are delivering common and centralized data along with those systems. Now, what does that mean? It means we have one data estate, and it doesn't matter if you're using S4 or if you're using an SAP SaaS application or if you're using a non-SAP application. We have one data estate that we've worked very, very hard to define, and that's where Syniti can tell you a little bit more about the processes that we've put in place and the work we're doing. We're also using that foundation of data to run modernized analytics, and that's a big part of the value that we think we'll deliver through the program. The program is running. We've had several early deployments that we're quite pleased about, and we do have a phasing that's going on as we move through our various business lines and our legacy ERPs, and we expect that it'll take us till 2028 to complete. With that, I'd like to turn it over to my partner here, Brian Regan from Syniti, who will talk a little bit about the data challenge we have and how we're approaching it.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, everybody.
I don't think he's on.
I think ExxonMobil is a really interesting proof point of the statement that behind every business transformation, there's a data transformation, right? If you say, what is it required to run your business today, right? There's usually four things, right? You need the people, you need your business processes, you need your platforms, and then you need your data. So you say, what if I want to embark upon an end-to-end, front-to-back business transformation? What do I need to be thinking about? And it's interesting that when we were reintroduced by SAP to ExxonMobil, that they already had a very keen awareness that this business transformation was going to require a fundamental transformation of their data assets, right? When you come out on the far side of a business transformation and you look at those four things, what do you really want, right? You want platforms that are populated with a trusted data foundation. Mm-hmm. You want innovative processes that are leveraging that trusted data foundation to enable modern AI-enabled business processes. And you want your people that are operating those platforms and processes to have at their fingertips, all of the insights they need to be effective and differential and competitive in the marketplace, right? And so when you put that all into the formula, you say, okay, well, if I want to be successful in a business transformation initiative, I need to think back from that outcome, say, well, what must be true in order for me to secure that data foundation so that I can secure those business processes and realize the business benefits that accrue from that transformation. And that tends to be a significant challenge at scale. It's one thing to cleanse data around one specific data set. Maybe you can have some modest success, but if you want to reinvent your business, if you want to fundamentally transform global business processes, it becomes a very big challenge very quickly. And at ExxonMobil, what we have is we've got dozens of different platforms that consumers use to consume data today, hundreds of data objects across different ERP and non-ERP systems, small army of data products that are fit for purpose and designed around use cases, and then thousands of users that are confronted with this data environment on a day-to-day basis. And so the vision of that transformed landscape that Rachel talked about was really to layer all of that, put trusted data front to back through that entire landscape, right? Have one unified ERP design with trusted data, right? Make that trusted data foundation, and then ultimately on the far side of that, make sure that the user community of ExxonMobil has trusted data every day. So the role that we've played as part of this partnership is to really try to help them assemble the strategy that's going to see them from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. And you say, okay, well, what does that take? It does require a platform at the end of the day at scale, right? We don't move terabytes of data and make them fit for purpose just with Excel, with all due respect to the fine corporation of Microsoft, right? That's not necessarily a scalable solution. So there is a platform component, right? We have a very strong partnership with SAP, and we bring to market together with SAP, the leading platform for data transformation of this size and scale. But it also requires a methodology, right? It doesn't help us at the end of the day if order to cash has trusted data but supply chain doesn't, right? There's integrated processes that thread the entire organization that all require trusted data. And that means that we need one methodology for data across the entire scope of this program. And that methodology needs to be executed by experts that really know what they're doing, okay? And so that's kind of the gap that we've tried to fill in partnership with ExxonMobil over the previous years, okay? So, how do we do that? I'll just give you a quick explainer. There's a lot more that we can talk about if anyone wants to have this conversation, but we've got a playbook that we've developed over the past 25 years that really assembles all of the pieces and parts of the entire value chain of data. How do I get data out? How do I make it fit for purpose? How do I get it into the end state systems? How do I make that process repeatable? How do I make it consistent across all of my process areas? And how do I do it at scale? How do I make sure that we have one playbook that's, regardless of where I sit in the organization, those users are going to wake up the day after go live, they're going to be able to execute their business processes, they're going to be able to look at reports and trust what they see, they're going to be able to leverage advanced capabilities with a trusted data foundation underneath them, okay? As part of this, there's a strong partnership with the business community of ExxonMobil, right? Data transformation ultimately is not just a technical exercise, it is a partnership. We need to understand where are you going, what are the processes that you aspire to create, what must be true of the data in order for those processes to work, and how do we elevate the data quality to support those business processes. And then along the way, we need to establish trust, right? It's not good enough if I say the data is accurate, if I say it's fit for purpose. Ultimately, the business data owners need to be the ones that do this. And so the methodology, the tool, the playbook really is reflective of this value chain that really delivers this end-to-end process. And again, in this case, it just happens to be a proof point because it is a very complicated program. There's a lot of moving pieces. There are a lot of data assets. But I think what we've proven thus far is that this playbook is well suited. That's why SAP supports this. It's why we've got such a strong partnership with SAP to realize those business benefits and to ensure that at the far side of this transformation, ExxonMobil has data they can trust. So, with that, we'll talk a little bit about anticipated benefits, and I will turn it back to Rachel.
Thanks, Brian. Brian's absolutely right that the partnership with Syniti has really helped us achieve what we were trying to do from a data perspective with this program. We have done lots of ERP migrations before. You know, we haven't maybe done them at this scale, and we haven't done them as recently, certainly at this scale, but we know how to do this, and we've kind of tackled this data challenge before, but we haven't ever quite gotten it right in the way that we really wanted to. And what we're finding now with Syniti is that they're helping us bring our sort of dreams alive as we work through this project, and we're quite bullish about where we're going. We also know that data is tricky, and we're not done till we're done. So we've got Syniti here as a partner to make sure we continue to get it right. As we look at the program, we wanted to talk a little bit about the anticipated benefits we see, not just from the data, but also from everything that having the right data foundation and the right applications will help us do, along with all of our improved work processes. So you can see some information about that here. Remember that ExxonMobil operates in like 60 plus countries, and we have 62,000 employees. So that the changes that we're making here to our work processes and to all the underlying systems are quite big and quite complex, as Brian mentioned, and they also offer the opportunity for significant business benefits. And my colleagues here, including our business venture manager, Kurt Arts, who's in the back, really are in charge of defining those business benefits and making sure that we deliver. So what do we think that looks like? Certainly you get that combination that we all want of efficiency and effectiveness. You get that because of our fit to standard business processes. You get that because we have new modern ways of basically making sure that work can get done. That's a big deal. You also get that because we took the time to step back, and instead of going with a customized approach or how does this group do it and how does this group do it and let's kind of find the best of both, we went back to how is the process intended to be run? And that's really at the heart of that fit to standard mantra and the efficiency and effectiveness that we hope to get. From an IT perspective, and I'm of course an IT person by background, so this is what really makes me excited about the program, we get more efficient and timely upgrades. And that should lead to a couple things, but most importantly, a lower total cost of ownership over time. We had a hard time with our bespoke systems in terms of upgrading them in a timely fashion. And it also meant that we couldn't take advantage of new innovations coming out from our vendors as easily as we wanted to. We intend to break that cycle with this project. How are we doing that? Well, if you want to hear more about that, you need to be at Theater 11 at 11:30 with my colleague Mike Adrian, who's also in the back, who will talk to you about our clean core journey. Mike will discuss it more, and I don't want to steal any of his thunder, but suffice it to say that we have partnered quite strongly with SAP and other vendors to make sure that not only are we fit to standard on this program, but we are also adhering to SAP's clean core methodology. And again, what we want are efficient and timely upgrades where we can take advantage of all the innovation that our vendors have to offer. Our data foundation will provide that basis for analytics, right? If we have one common set of data, we have one common set of data products, we have one source of truth, that's exactly what we're looking for. We also think that that data foundation provides basically the platform for all the great AI we're hearing about here at Sapphire. And so absolutely we think that the key here is to make sure that we get that right, hence the partnership with Syniti. And finally, this project is also about experience. It is making sure that what we introduce is satisfying for our employees to use, it adds value for our customers, and it makes it easy to do business with us if you're a supplier. So that's what we're after with our process and systems transformation. In short, I would say that ExxonMobil has a 140-year history of meeting the world's needs and doing it in an innovative way based on technology. We certainly anticipate that this program will be part of that very, very strong tradition that we have. So that's what we're aiming for every day. We're glad to do it in partnership with SAP and with Syniti, with many of the other partners we work with, and we really appreciate your time in coming to learn a bit more about us. And just as a final reminder, we want to say a big thank you. Here's who we are. If you have any questions, a couple of us will be around after to answer those. And again, a plug for my good friend Mike, who's in the back, who will tell you all about our clean core journey at 11:30 in Theater 11. Thanks again for your time.